Hello, everyone. Nice to see everybody here today. We're going to get started in a moment. I'm just going to have a guest shortly. So, my name is Dr. Lola Ashaye. I'm a family physician and owner of InTouch Primary Care in Sugar Land, Texas. We're here in Sugar Land, Texas, and we provide a hassle-free healthcare experience under a membership model to people with and without insurance. So you no longer have to delay your care. And today we're going to be joined by a very special guest. And I want Dr. Funke Brown is a triple board triple board certified specialist, and she is a sleep medicine physician and really one of the few doctors in the United States actually that has specialized in this field, and I'm so honored to have her here. So Dr. Funke Brown, you can go ahead and join us and we'll get started.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Funke Afolabi-Brown. I'm a sleep medicine physician. I also am the founder of RestfulSleepMD, and really, I am passionate about empowering high-performing professionals and their children and helping them prioritize sleep so that they can move from exhausted to just really thriving. And so, really, I'm on a mission to help people discover sleep as their superpower. And I'm just so thrilled to be here.
You do a lot to get your message out there, and it sounds like a lot of people have learned so much, including me. I've learned so many good sleeping tips from all from all the speaking and events that you've done, and it's so great to see. So, why do you think sleep is so important? Can you give us some more information about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, sleep is we have these three pillars of health, right? We have nutrition, which we hear a lot about, and everybody at some point, I mean, if you can post in the chat like how many diet plans you've tried, right? We have some. We focus a lot on diet and nutrition. That's one pillar. It's not the only one, right? You can't have a table standing on only one, on one rung or one prong or whatever. And then we have exercise, right? Activity. We talk a lot about movement, and so we have fitness coaches all over. We have gyms popping up all over. We have gyms in our basement, gyms on our first floor. We're doing all that good stuff. And imagine a table with just two stands. That's really not going to stand that well. And so sleep is a third pillar. And for me, not to be biased, it is so critical for your diet and your exercise to actually, for you to really get the benefits of that. So it's such a critical pillar of health. So starting from the top all the way in terms of our executive function, our memory, our ability to make decisions as people, as human beings, right? We're making so many thousands and thousands of decisions a day, right? For you to really make impactful decisions, for you to lead your team, for you to make to care for your kids, to make like for you to drive effectively, you need sleep. And then even our physical health. So many benefits, like, I could just go on and on. So yes, sleep is quite important.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. I know I've heard you say times that sleep is not really just to rest. Like we also need it's a way the body repairs itself. And I think,
Absolutely.
to understand that, and it goes a long way to help your health in general. So I know you have programs to help parents and their children prioritize and achieve restful sleep. What do you think are the major barriers or challenges that you've come across that prevent this from happening?
Absolutely. I love that question. So, my work actually started from just the four walls of my clinic, right? I see a lot because I'm also certified in pediatric sleep medicine, which is a super small field. But, it was the day in, day out of seeing families come in with their
Mm.
children either not sleeping or snoring or having really restless sleep and things like that. And then just seeing those tired, moms yawning in the exam room. Like they can barely keep it. Like they're like, I don't even know how we drove here, but we're here. Please help us. And so it involves the entire family, right? And then I started digging deeper. Like, how is your sleep? And a lot of themes started coming up. And even with my coaching program, I'm seeing that a lot as well. And there are just a few things that seem to be a recurring pattern. One is really not understanding how important sleep is. There's that narrative we hear a lot. Yeah, sleep is for the weak, or you snooze, you lose, or I'll sleep when I'm dead. So you're hearing that again and again. And so that narrative really becomes ingrained, especially in women. So
Mm.
really not understanding that sleep is a superpower. And I would dare say, if you, for example, are an employer, that you don't want to hire employees that say, listen, I love my work so much I don't sleep. They're going to make really dangerous decisions for your organization. So really, again, changing that culture, changing that narrative. So that's one thing. It's that, like, understanding the importance of sleep and really understanding that it's not, to say that you prioritize sleep is not a sign of weakness. So
Mm.
that's the first thing. And then the second thing that I see a lot, depending on what group of people we're working with, so a lot of women, is really not being able to set boundaries to be able to prioritize it. So we tend to put everything else, everybody else's problems on ourselves. We tend to put every other thing, we're running around, we're solving problems, we're moms, we're wives, we're sisters, we're friends, we're colleagues. We have all these things that sleep all of a sudden is like, no, I don't have time for that. So really not being able to put it as something that we're doing intentionally. And so I think that's another piece of it. And then I would say another thing that's really tied to that as well is stress and anxiety. And so one of the things I talk about is three main buckets when it comes to being able to sleep well. One is really understanding things around the quantity of sleep we should get. So you hear about the 7 to 9 hours of sleep and things like that. For adults, for children, you need more. The second is maybe some habits that we get into, like, we're drinking maybe caffeine, or we're bringing our phones into the bedroom and all those. So that can affect the quality of our sleep. And then the third is really stress and anxiety, and it plays a huge role, such that even when you're like, okay, I'm going to get into bed at 10 p.m. and I'm going to try to stay in and do all the things I'm supposed to do, and you're not drinking caffeine, you're not necessarily bringing your phone in, you're even trying all those things. That piece of stress anxiety makes you stay in bed with your mind racing, and you just cannot shut it down. And I hear that a lot. I'm tossing and turning. I do all the right things, but sleep just seems to elude me. So really those three categories is how I see sleep. Then of course there are medical sleep disorders, which is like a talk for a whole nother day, but that's also another big one.
Yes, absolutely. So I heard you say knowing the importance of sleep is helpful. Being
Mm-hmm.
intentional about sleeping is helpful, and then managing stress and anxiety as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how we can do this now. So can you give like practical tips to help people start sleeping better today? I mean, I wish I knew this. Like I have twins, so during my twin years, I used to say that having twins was nothing on residency.
I know.
That itself, the sleep, I got more sleep in residency than when around. So, if
I
people
know.
want to sleep, what do they need to do? What are practical tips we can give them?
Yeah, yeah, and I love that. I love that. These are things we can start off today. You don't need to pay for. You can literally start today. The first I would say is working on that mindset and really saying, I now will prioritize sleep. So we understand the benefits, right? It's important for our emotional health, our physical health. It's important for our body's healing and the ability to rejuvenate and make decisions. So understanding that and really setting that intention, I think that's the first place to start. And regardless of where you're starting from, if you're someone who is like super busy and you're not able to get into bed till midnight or after midnight, start
Mm.
sitting, just set a time that's consistent. So that's what I always tell people, because we have what we call an internal clock or a circadian rhythm, and it controls pretty much every bodily function. It's almost like a clock in our body. So it knows when we should be alert, it knows when we should be sleepy, and it works with our 24-hour clock. When you set a consistent bedtime and a wake up time. Actually, if you can't pick which one, I usually will say the wake up time, but I think a good bedtime and a good wake up time, it almost like locks that internal clock in. So you're not shifting all over the place and your body's like, what are we supposed to be doing right now? So when you set that, that I think is the first step, because you can then now work everything else around it. So once you say, okay, I'm someone that needs, first figure out how many hours of sleep you need, maybe, 8 hours or 7 hours, whatever that is. What time do I need to wake up in the morning? Okay, I have to drop the kids in school. I have to make, I don't know, breakfast. I have to do some other things. So this is the absolute last minute I can spend in my bed. So set that time, work your way backwards, and then that's your bedtime. And so that consistency, even during the weekdays as well as the weekends, is really important, because it prevents us from shifting all over the place. So it's almost like your body has an anchor. So that's one. So that consistency. The second one that I would encourage us to do, especially the kind of, the society we're in now, everything is go, 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 go. We're not 24-hour society, right? Nobody sleeps, right? You may have collaborations in the Philippines. I was talking to my assistant and she's like, oh my gosh, she should not have done that. But it was also my fault. I need to put this in. I met her at 1 p.m. She's like, oh, I'm okay. It's 1 a.m. I'm like, you literally, we're going to have to hang up right now. You must not tell anybody you met with your your client who's a sleep physician and wake at 1. I'm like, no, you cannot do that. Tell me what time makes sense and I will work around that. So again, really, because of that, you have to have some kind of routine. The reason why is because you will go, 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 and then we plop into bed. But that's probably the only time when we've had a chance to just quiet our bodies. So we need to prepare for bed. We need to have a routine, something that is pleasurable, that is calming, that's relaxing for you and is headed in the direction of the bedroom. So for me, a bath is, or a shower or something, because I don't know, I just want to get the grime off my body before I hop into bed. Plus, it drops your body temperature so that your body is cool and it helps you go to sleep. So it could be that, it could be reading a book, a hard book or a Kindle, nothing that brings too much light again. So, or it could be saying some prayers, some meditation, it could be journaling. So pick 2 or 3 that works for you. That's 2, right? The third I would say is really, really important, and that is assigning your bed for sleep and sleeping only in bed. The reason why is because, again, our bodies and our brains make associations super fast. So if your brain is like, I'm going to be in bed now and I'm going to finish up some charts, or I'm going to write, send some quick emails to Japan, or I'm going to just worry and bicker and fight with my spouse, or or I'm gonna have a snack, I'm gonna watch TV, your brain's just like, wait, what are we doing right now? And so it makes it hard again for you to calm down. So if you're gonna do all those things, try to do it outside of the bedroom, or find a space in the room that's not in bed. So that's really important, assigning the bed for sleep and sleeping only in bed. And then I would say I have tons of tips, and you can find it on my website, but I'll give 4 because we want you to start today. One other one is let light work in your favor. Light is one of the strongest, what we call cues or signals for that internal clock. We talked about that circadian rhythm. So what light does is, what our body does is, it sees light and signals are sent to our brain. In the nighttime, when it's dark, our brain sees no light and it starts to produce a hormone or substance in our brain called melatonin. And so what melatonin does is it literally prepares our body for sleep. Okay? When the brain sees light, that tap gets shut off. It's like, stop. We don't need melatonin right now. It's such a magical way that our systems are built. So you let light work in your favor. You try to avoid bright light in the evening and expose yourself to bright light in the morning. And what that does is it's training that internal clock to say, it's time to be awake. It's time to take on your day. And then in the evening, you start to dim the lights to say, it's time to shut down. It's time for us to go to sleep. So those are just some 4 that I think is a great place to start. And then on my website, there's a whole cheat sheet with more steps that you can take really to build a robust, restful sleep experience for yourself.
Awesome. Share that website with us real quick. We'll share it again at the end, but go ahead.
Absolutely. It's RestfulSleepMD.com.
That's right, restfulsleepmd.com. So remember, we talked about the circadian rhythm, and that is so important. So many other conditions as well. And I think we underestimate how powerful it is. Some people that use alarms sometimes will even wake up before, like at the same time, even before the alarm goes up, because that's how our body has been trained a certain way. So we can train it by being, like you said, we can be consistent. If we're consistent with the time we go to bed or the time and the time that we wake up, that really, really helps. The other way what other thing we can do is we can make sure that we are prepared. So we do this a lot with kids when we're trying to get them to go to sleep. We have the nice routine, because we're trying to sleep train them, but we need to sleep train ourselves too.
Yes, exactly.
So doing sleep training ourselves, putting on that lullaby, taking our
Yep.
bath, reading our book, and then going to bed is also very helpful. And then also we I know I've been guilty of that. Like, let me just finish this thing real quick while I'm sitting here. So not doing that so that your brain isn't confused. And then you've also talked about using light in your favor. So making sure bright lights in the morning, but make sure that we're not exposing ourselves to bright lights at night. And that includes phones and screens and computers and, all that stuff. So that those are really, really great tips and many more. And the website is on the screen, so many more tips on there. So if you're struggling with sleep, there are things you can start to do right now. So that's awesome. So let's talk about Restful Sleep MD. How do clients benefit from your program, and what can they expect?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of the work I do, one is definitely education on the importance of sleep because I realized, and that was why I decided to embark on this journey, is that we don't understand how critical sleep is to our wellness. So I do a lot of work on education. So I create courses and I also facilitate workshops. And I also work with organizations who are looking to improve their employees' health on how to sleep well, not just by prescribing something, but really digging deep into what's going on. And then I also have coaching. So again, I coach high performing women and their children because I was there, right? We've all lived it. And so, really understanding and getting the education, the skills to be able to help other women really thrive, get off medications, do those things. And so, those are just ways by which I've been able to really get the word out there and help people.
Awesome. Yeah. So, I'm all about that. So anybody talking about getting off medication that is, preventing health conditions, those are the things that I like to do because if you can learn the right habits and actually do it's so much better than having to keep adding medication or, even being on medications in the first place. So this is really, really great. Awesome. So do you have any advice or any parting words for our listeners today?
Yes, I do. First of all, thank you so much for having me. The work you do is incredible. Preventative care is just so critical. But one thing I would say is, again, wherever you are, the goal is not for you to feel like, oh, I should do better, I should sleep better, or to look at your sleep like a grade, whether you pass or fail. No, the goal is for you to take what you've heard today and say, what one step can I take to move myself, to move the needle forward, no matter what that looks like. That can look like I go to bed super late and I wake up exhausted because I don't get enough sleep. It can look like, okay, I'm going to go to bed 15 minutes earlier tonight. That might be all you need to do. And that's a huge step in the right direction. So, again, it may take those small steps, but being intentional from a place of grace and not of judgment. And you can then start to prioritize your sleep. And as I say, to radiate your inner brilliance, because we all have that light, we all have that inner brilliance, and sometimes we're exhausted and it just cannot shine through. So when you sleep well, you can actually reduce your inner brilliance.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I hear patients all the time, and I've heard myself say that a lot in the past. I'm learning now. They will say exhausted, I'm exhausted, you know, like you hear it so much and, you know, and people don't get adequate sleep. So, you know, this is awesome, learning how to prioritize sleep. So we know what to do now. We can start today and baby steps always, you know, just do what you can, start off with what you can, and then over time it gets better and better and better. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. I was just going to add, sorry, I was just going to add something. Now, a lot of what we talked about is prioritizing sleep, but there's the other piece, which are the medical sleep problems. So if you've done the right things, adopted healthy sleep habits, you're putting in, maybe, for example, you're in bed for a good amount of time sleeping, but you're still waking up tired, or you're snoring, or you're having really restless sleep, it's definitely time to get in touch with InTouch Primary to make sure that you don't have an underlying sleep problem, because there are sleep disorders that are actually quite dangerous that we want to make sure we don't miss.
That's correct. Yes. Thank you for saying that. There, you know, there are some very dangerous sleep conditions, and I think we are okay. You're back. There are many dangerous sleep conditions that need to be addressed. That can, you know, sleep can, if they're not addressed properly, can affect the lungs and the heart. And so it's actually really important that if you know you need help with that, or you're not sure what's going on, that you get it checked out. And we're here at InTouch Primary Care in Sugar Land, Texas. Awesome. All right. So how can people find you? I know we have your website. Can you give us your social media handles and all the different ways we can find you?
Yes, yes, I am on I'm on Instagram as RestfulSleepMD, as well as Facebook, and I am also on LinkedIn as Dr. Funke Brown. I have a YouTube channel as well, which is Dr. Funke Brown, and then my website, which is restfulsleepmd.com. So those are just ways you can get in touch with me, and let's chat.
Awesome. Yeah. So as Dr. Funke Brown mentioned, she does coaching, some courses, many programs. So there are many different ways that she can help if you're having trouble with sleep. So um, hope you learned a few things today. And thank you so much, all the familiar faces, for joining us. We really appreciate it. All the not familiar faces too. We appreciate you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Dr. Funke Brown. Have a lovely rest of the day.
You too. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye bye.